All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for getting on the call on short notice. I know it's not always easy to reach out, but that shows that you got a serious in leadership. And I just want to, before I get started, again, explain to you why we're here today. As you know, we are past the half year mark, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. Companies doing some great things in terms of making it easier for people to not only um, get promoted, but also earn how much they can earn quicker. And again, we just have such an opportunity that we need to take advantage of. So put this call together, ask Vidita to come and share with us some of the things that are happening and what we should be looking to do, particularly if you're serious about, finishing strong. Again, some of us have been around for a little while. And again, this is a great time to take advantage of opportunity. Generally, during the summer months, people slow down. We all had, for one reason or another, slowed down a little bit, but now it's time to pick up the pace leading into, the summer and not waiting until the end of summer to get it. This is a great time to really start getting things moving while people are available. So, for those of you who may not know, our fearless leader, executive leader for Dita Monk, I'm going to ask her to introduce her and say thank you, Vidita, for taking out the time to spend with us and share some of those nuggets so we can kind of follow your lead and start having some success. So, Vidita, I'm going to turn the call over to you. And again, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Derek, for inviting me to your team call. And most of you I do know. And Derek and I were talking a little bit earlier about, some things. And I just want to thank him for once again being able to corroborate with me on ideas that we talk about. And you are so fortunate to have such an amazing leader with Derek. So once again, thank you for your leadership, Derek. What we were talking about literally was really, uh, um, how do I say this? A mindset of how are we communicating, I would say that to the people that we're approaching about this business, because it really is making a difference. If you got a chance to be on last night's call, I did send a recording out. I forgot to record it because that's normally not my call. That's the team call. And after we'd shown the 2-minute video with David Schmidt and all the stuff about the company, that's when I started recording. So people didn't really miss that much, but I tried to interject some things as I went along. And I put a whole lot of emphasis on helping people. Many of you whoever got on my Power 6 call, I put a lot of emphasis on mindset and accelerating your business. That's the focus. If you've ever been on a call, you know that. However, I was talking with Derek earlier as well as Erica McQueen yesterday, and Erica and I both were at the same time thinking the same thing, and that is we need to realize that David Schmidt is a humanitarian. You've never really heard David Schmidt emphasize. Now he wants us to make really good money. That is why he is behind any enhancements that we're doing to the compensation plan right now. But you never hear him just talk about the money. He talks about what where this company is going and what the products are doing for people and what the new products that he's developing are going to do to help people. But he is a scientist, but he's a humanitarian at heart. If he were not a humanitarian, he would not be doing some of the things that he's doing. But I've talked to several people today, and the overwhelming sense that I'm getting from people, not me initiating the conversation, them initiating the conversation to me, that, quote unquote, God is in this patch. God is in this patch, you guys. How many things in this whole wide world do you know of that can do what this technology does? And the reason I'm going this direction with this call is because I personally don't think that many of us are grasping what we have our hands on, because if we were grasping it, we would be much more aggressive about the approaching people and making sure that when we talk to people, they feel it, they get it. If a person that you really, really care about, unless they are just shutting you completely down, if they don't get it, you need to get back to them and make sure they get it. You know what I mean? In other words, if you tell them all about the patch and then they just kind of brush it off, that means they didn't get it. because if they got it, they would have been calling you back or just all excited. So, everybody doesn't get it. But this is the way I started I can't even or just say it straight out. I have to read what I had come up with just to start the whole conversation out when I was on the call last night. This is what I said. This is what I had written down, but I didn't say it this way. I started the call out by saying, have you ever known someone who is facing a serious health challenge, only to be told by their doctor, there's nothing more we can do? Now imagine if there were a way to help your body support its own natural repair processes. That's why you're invited to join us tonight. We want to introduce you to a breakthrough technology designed to reactivate your body's own dormant stem cells, opening the door to a new conversation about health, wellness, and what's possible. So I let people know that they had their hands on a breakthrough technology and that this technology is doing things that doctors cannot even do. That's the point you want to get across to people when you talk to them. You don't have to say it the way I said it, but if you're not like I said, if they don't get it, then you need to you definitely want to put somebody on the phone because say you must not have really, I may not have did a good enough job to making sure you understand what I'm trying to share with you. Let me get my partner who is very articulate and knows how to explain this to people, Mr. Derek Hawkins, and edify him. Derek Hawkins is a very well-educated person, very involved in the community, and I'm following his lead, but I want to make sure that you don't miss this. And so Derek, whatever it takes, whether Derek says whatever he says, and then says, listen, can you be available later on today? We're going to do a call. Just like Derek sent you this text about 2 or 3 hours ago, and you're on the team, of course, and obviously, you want to be on the call, but a lot of times it doesn't take a whole week or 3 or 4 days to get somebody lined up to be on a call. It could be a 2 or 3 hour window. If you do a well enough job of getting their attention, they might be willing to get on that call. Okay. So all I'm just trying to say is we have got to step up as a team, you guys, because number one, once again, we have a lot of people that need this technology. But number two, we as a team need to, I've said this before, the lack of a better way to put it, we need to be recognized. It should be recognized that we're putting the effort in. Okay. When I say recognize, the only way you could really recognize that is by us showing up at the unstoppable, showing up, or when we show up, we show out. Okay. So that's just my sentiments. That's just my personal sentiments. I don't like to, I like to win. And whether like even all through college, high school, whatever, I always put my best foot forward. I believe you did the same thing. You wanted to get the good grades. You do that because you care. You have that inner work standards to do well. And I really challenge you to put those inner work standards in place here. And so I really challenge some of you to all of us to start thinking at least every day, at least one or two people that you could think of that you could reach out and say, listen, Aunt Sarah, I know that you've been dealing, or Uncle Tony, or whatever his name is, or somebody, I'm just making up some names, has been dealing with this situation with Parkinson's for some time. And I know you feel like you just got to deal with it with the medications the doctors are giving you, but I have discovered something that you really need to know about. And you started out like that, like you really are trying to help them. See, some of us, and I'm just going by network marketers, a lot of network marketers will call you and say stuff like, you know what, I come across this opportunity, and I'm telling you, it's paying out a whole lot of money. Well, yeah, but everybody doesn't get motivated by that. You have to, appeal to their senses, and especially if there's somebody that they really care about. One of our top leaders in LifeWave, Carrie Robertson, who is a presidential, I think she's maybe 1 or 2 star, I think 2 star presidential, maybe. She went all on that Italy trip to Florence and all this, but you hear her all the time what her motto is, and she did it when we went to Houston this past week. She says, what name 4 or 5 people that you care about, love, and care about the most? That is what she does with every single person that she gets started with. She doesn't say get the people that want to make some money. How many people that, let's put name the people down that you want to make some money. She says, write the names down and let's call the people that you love and care about the most. You see, now that doesn't mean those people are sick or anything, but that you still love and care about them. You need to let them know what you're doing, why you're doing it, you thought about them. And Derek, I mean, I really didn't have any specific, you know, anything lined up, but I did want to point out two things that I know that me personally, I would love to benefit from. First of all, I want to challenge you guys. Go do whatever you got to do. I don't care what your situation is. Do whatever you have to do to get unstoppable. I want to share something with you so you can understand what I mean about this. First of all, things in the universe happen because you make decisions. They don't happen because of the situation you're in. Just because you're flat broke doesn't mean you can't go to the convention. Let me give you an example of something that happened to me. Um, I think it was back in 2009, back in 2008, 7, 8, the real estate industry crashed. I was helping a builder build these $1 million homes in Atlanta. Now in Atlanta, $1 million home is a big house, okay? Back up there in New Jersey where Derek lived, you may not get a lot for $1 million, but in Atlanta, they're fabulous, right? Well, anyway, the real estate industry crashed and we were building 40 homes. I was the designer, for the spec homes, picking all the finishes for the homes. When that real estate industry crashed, not only was that subdivision a project that was shut down, I had an investment banker, I remember. I was about to do his house. I was doing I'm trying to think of the fund up there in New York. Dang, I can't think of it. Was, oh gosh, it's a foundation. I can't think of the name right this minute. I'll think of it in a moment. But I had just flown up to New York and they wanted me to do their whole office. And I'm sitting up here looking for my check in the mail. I mean, literally, it was supposed to be in the mail like in 2 or 3 days. And I said, what's going on? And then I called them and they said, well, our employees, I think this was when the 9/11, that's what it was
Mhm.
back in September 20, September
2001.
11th.
Right.
Anyway, he said he said our employees are afraid to come to work. They were literally down the street from where that happened, right? So their employees were afraid to go to work, and their money was based on donations, that foundation. So
Mhm.
they said our employees won't come to work, our donors aren't giving any money. We can't move. They were going to move to a new office, and I was going to design. Can you believe somebody uh called me all the way from Atlanta? See, y'all don't understand the level of design work that I do. And so I'm not a big social media person, but a lot of, you know, companies, have sought me out to do very special projects. So anyway, they said, we can't do this because we don't have any money and our employees won't come to work. And I wasn't nothing I could do about that. So just, I'm setting up the stage so you can understand the situation I was in. Can you imagine? I live in a nice home. Me and my husband live in a nice home. When you have a nice home, guess what? You got a big mortgage. We had two brand new, luxury cars. When you got luxury cars, guess what? You got big car payments. We couldn't pay our, we used up all of our savings. My husband has an economic development company, and economic development is related to real estate as well. So he wasn't making any money. I wasn't making any money. This went on for a whole year, to the point we used up all our savings because we were paying all these bills. We lost, we almost, I'm saying we almost lost our cars. We almost lost our cars because if you get to be 3 months behind, they're going to pick it up. We almost lost our home. But by the grace of God, we heard about an opportunity. And in that opportunity, we didn't even have the money to pay to get into the opportunity. You could get in for $35. All of our credit cards were charged up. But I found a customer that I took to the person that enrolled me in that business and said, if this customer buys this product, can I have a profit? The profit was something like $40. That was enough for me to get into business. Just like in this company, you can get in for $25. So do you see what I did? I didn't say I can't, I don't have no money. That was not my decision because I saw the opportunity. I saw the money on the table. I, I did not use my lack of money as my excuse. I used my lack of money as the reason for me to do that business. So guess what? Very first month in the company, we signed up in January the 29th of 2000, I guess was it 2009? Let's see, was it 2000? Yeah, 2009. February of 2009, guess how much our check was? $7,800. The next month, our check was $20,200. You know why? Because we took off running. We didn't, but guess what? That check that we had got for $7,800, when we got the check, see, back then you got a physical check. Because I went to the bank to deposit a check, they wouldn't let me get any money off the check. I still didn't have any money because I had to hold it for 10 days. But there was an event in Houston, Texas with this company that was right around the corner, and I didn't have the money to even go. But I did, but everybody knew I had made the money. So what happened was I went to my sponsor, explained, look, if you could just loan me enough money to get a flight and to get my hotel room, you already know you're gonna get your money. And that's the way I got it. But if I did not, if I know people come to me all the time asking, literally, somebody came to me asking for, and it was somebody up there in New Jersey too that did this. They wanted $13,000 from me. This was recently, thinking because I'm making good money that I was going to give it to them. But if I went to somebody and said, I need $2,000 because I need to do this, they may not have loaned it to me because they may not know if I could give it back to them. I'm hoping you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Just because your situation looks a certain way doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Sometimes it's just a challenge. God is allowing you to go through something. Now, I'm not trying to say that these reasons for people not to come to the convention are not valid. I'm not saying that at all. But if your reason is because you don't have the money, please don't let that be a reason. We'll figure out how to get you there. But you gotta be there. We talked about this on Sundays. Z Kendrick had a special call, the Sunday night training call, but get there some kind of way. You guys, we have to be there, okay? Secondly, there is a challenge that David Schmidt put out there. It's called a VIP conference experience. And I know this is something I want to do. Why? Because I can't really read it, but I know that one of the nights, first of all, you're going to get special recognition in the conference. I don't necessarily care about that part. But the thing is, you get a chance to go to Disneyland. It's a special night that they reserve just for the LifeWave representatives at Disneyland, which is the property we're on. There a special reception with David Schmidt. It's about 4 or 5 things they're doing. And all you have to do to get there is generate 500 points. Now, these you got an email just like I did. And if you go to your back office under resources, go under your back office under resources and drop down to where it says VIP conference experience, you'll see the whole printout. But just to give you an example how simple this is, remember when we had the incentive trips, like to Hawaii, for example, if you got a customer, and customer is easy to get, you got 1 point. In this scenario, you get 10 points for a customer. I have a lady in Houston that they did a little get together on Sunday. And for example, somebody that she had came in with the advanced pack. Well, in the enhancement trips or incentive trips, you got I think you got 4 points if you brought in an advance. In this scenario, you get 30 points. No, I'm sorry, advanced pack, you get 20. I'm looking at advanced pack. Advanced plus. If you get the advance, you get 20 points. That's 5 times the points you got in the incentive trips. Do you understand how simple this is? She also has a person that's about to just literally about to hit 2-star manager. 2-star manager, you get 55 points. So if you had got started or have a person get started and they see that they can sign up, they can come in in advance and maybe get a couple of advance, that's 1-star manager right there. That's 35 points. Look at the stuff yourself. It's up to you. I'm not pressuring anybody. I'm just trying to say, I'm just calling your attention to what's on the table. And when you go to these things, it's much more fun when you are, achieving some type of goal, get a chance to walk across the stage. That may or may not motivate you. I'm just telling you what's on the table. But Derek, also one more thing is that, they have, that in that bonus that they have called a business launch bonus, where people who just get started, if they get to 1-star manager within their first week, the company gives them $25 for 9 weeks as long as they maintain 1-star manager. Well, That's double all the way to August the 16th, I believe. I think it's the 16th of August or something like that. And then if you are a two-star manager, it's going to be instead of $50 a week, it's $100 a week. That's $900. And see, these are the kinds of things, people are you're getting paid every week. The people are saying, I don't have the money. Do something. Just talk to your spirit and take off running. The reason I'm on this call, you guys, is because Derek and I really, really want y'all to win. And I'm gonna just be quiet, and because Derek is gonna say something, but I encourage you all to share your sentiments. If it's something that concerns you or some challenges, that's what we're here for. Many times people don't raise their hand and say, "Hey, can you help me?" And that's what we're here for. So Derek, I'm gonna turn it back over to you. I know I sound
Absolutely.
like I'm just rattling on and on.
Oh, no, no. No, appreciate that information. And as you know, Vidita is one of the leaders, not just in our team, but in life in general, respected around the country and in the world. And, the information that she shared with us is relevant. A lot of times we don't see what she sees. She meets with the founders, they have executive meetings and they discuss things. And we see a lot of people who, there's nothing extraordinary about them. And, not to say that they don't deserve it, but they just do a little bit more to make it happen. Again, it's not the sharpest person, not the person with the that has all the degrees, the person um, that has a large center of influence, the person who just wants it more. And you couldn't have a better playing field where you can literally dictate your future, by just talking to other people. And we all, again, I'm guilty of this in terms of missing opportunities, but every day is an opportunity to talk to people. And again, if we go back to the simple and I've started myself as talking to five people a day, whether it's I walk out and meet five people, whether I call five people or I connect with people on social media and strike up a conversation. Just get in the habit of doing the little things consistently. We just have to all master the mundane. I know it sounds simple, again, and it is simple. Again, if you think about how many people you can call in a short period of time. I have some friends that call me and they like to talk for a long time. So I only take their calls when I know I have, half an hour to an hour of I'm not really doing anything before I even take their calls. But it's very easy for them to call and have a long conversation, but you could very easily have a shorter conversation. And as Vedita said, we should focus more on the philanthropic side of what this opportunity means to people, how making them feel, the changes in their life. And again, the money will come. And again, some people often get turned off when we talk about opportunities to make extra money because you get so many opportunities out there that people are presenting. But how many opportunities do we have where we can I'm talking about literally change people's lives? I've seen it. I experienced it. I've seen it in my own family. We all have our own personal testimony, but we also know people whose lives has made a difference from. We just have to go back to, when we had that fire when we got started, and just rekindling. And so let's start to take advantage of, having smaller meetings. You don't have to always get people on at 8 o'clock or at 10 o'clock. It becomes like a routine because that is actually there are so many businesses and opportunities that have calls at that time. And one of my challenges, some of the people I talk to, particularly those in ministry, it's usually a Bible study, uh, a meeting, or something happening around that time. So we often run into conflict with those times. So think out of the box. Let's get people on the calls during the day. If you have somebody that you want to do a presentation to, you'd have to wait till a call comes. You can particularly call me and say, "Listen, I got somebody. They're available the next half an hour. Can we get on the phone with them and have a conversation?" Because once you start talking to people and letting them know what your heart and what we're doing, again, we have to make sure we emphasize that we're on a mission. We're not just looking out to make money. Money is a byproduct of you helping people. So the focus is on helping people, and that's your focus. And you talk about helping people, then we can again they can make money in the back end. But the idea is let's get back to work. I think most of us have, we've had a lot of calls that we had on a regular basis. The Wednesday night call, the team huddle. Erica had a call, and so we scale back on those calls because we have so many of them during the week. And again, if we just get on a call to share information that's readily available, there's trainings, there's videos. We want to do calls where we're going to be productive. So when we do get back to getting to the huddle, it's not just going to be a call where we get on and train and present and bring you updates because you all have access to that. It's going to be go we go to work. A few times we've done it where we got on and we did some role playing. And again, you have to be willing to be brave enough to get on those calls because a lot of times we'll say, okay, let's get a volunteer, let's do some roll calling, and you hear cricket sometimes. But if you're not willing to do it when we're on amongst people that you know and care about and knowing that you're just practicing, how much more are you going to do it when there's nobody watching? It's just you and that other person. So again, the best way to do it, it's a muscle that you have to train. So just be prepared for that. Reach out if you're serious and run and move to the next level. Just give me a call and let's work out a game plan. If you haven't been watching when you log in every day, they tell you exactly what you need to do to get to the next level. So you can be more, not just strategic, but you can also be more intentional knowing that, hey, you only need 60 points, for example, to get to that next level on the left side or the right side or on this particular group. And then that could be simply making a phone call and reminding someone, hey, did you place an order? Are you looking to add anything to the order? So those little things we can do, but again, you have to at least manage and watch what you have. Let us help you if you don't understand how the rankings work. Again, because there have been some changes. We went from 4 ways to get paid to 9. There's so much more money on the table that is rolling up to you, and many of you may not even be aware of it. So that's something going to cover on the next call we get together. But just wanted to share that. Again, I've been talking to most of you off and on. So before we close out, again, I'm just looking for people that are committed to happen, and again, make sure again do what you can to get to Unstoppable. Obviously, there's some other things happening around the country. In fact, I know next Tuesday, I think it's the 6th, whatever that day, it might be Monday. If you know anybody in Chicago, I believe James Dentley's doing an event in Chicago. I sent the information out before. Take advantage of these events, particularly in areas, even if you don't live in those areas. What I tend to do is if I know there's an event coming up, for example, in Chicago, I go on my phone and I tend to say people's names in their state and city where they live. So if I look up Chicago, it would start bringing up all the names and numbers of people I know who live in Chicago, and some of them I haven't talked to or forgot about. So use something like that. Again, you don't have to wait for people to come to you. They're out there waiting for us, but we have to be intentional about going out and sharing information, and just be intentional about sharing it and moving forward. Not necessarily getting caught up on one person or certain person. Because again, while you're talking to that person and trying to get them to the next step, there's always someone waiting. And the last thing I want to share is get good at, and I forget what they call it, there's a word for it, but always get a meeting from a meeting. And what do I mean by that? If you talk to somebody and let's say they got on a conference call, and you always want to have scheduled a follow-up. And if you get them on a call after that and they don't sign up, always schedule another meeting. So always the another saying for that is never let a lead dead end. So you want to constantly always schedule for somebody to join when you can. And again, if they can't join, schedule another appointment, follow up, three-way call until they either tell you don't call me anymore, or you lose touch with them or they go into a dark hole. But again, just be intentional about the follow-up and always get a meeting from a meeting. And with that, I just want to open up if anybody else want to share anything, their thoughts and ideas. Appreciate you guys' time, and this call is recorded. So, and if
Derek, really quickly.
Unless you want to close out and add to it,
Well,
please
we
do.
definitely want to hear from the people, but I just want to reiterate what you just said. That's called BAM FAM, book a meeting from a meeting.
Bam, bam. Okay.
And that, so it's a little phrase, but I wanted, how you said something about, it's something I made a note to myself because you said something about, just talking to people and I just feel like people need to get bolder. And let me give you a quick example of what just happened to me before I came home. I was at the grocery store and I had a cart and there was a guy walking next to me. He was walking maybe 3 or 4 steps in front of me in the parking lot. I noticed he had those things on his knees, like if you work on your knees, like if you're a construction worker or something like that, he had these things on his knees. And so I'm just looking for ways to start a conversation. I said, excuse me. And he said, and he looked at me and I said, just out of curiosity, are you in the construction business? He says, oh yeah. And then he says, I do heating and air or something, but I also do all this other stuff. I said, we're kind of in the same industry. And I told him that I'm an interior designer. But I said, but that's not why I stopped you. I said, I know that you probably need something that I have to offer. And I just went straight on in. I just went straight on into it. I did not ask him, did he have 5 minutes or nothing? But as soon as the very first one or two sentences, I used the word stem cell technology, and his mouth just dropped open. I don't know why, but he was just impressed with that. And I pulled the patch. I showed him the patch on the back of my neck. But that's what I gave him a couple of patches. I mean, a lot of people don't even do that anymore because they say people don't respond to them. But I gave him the recording from the call I did last night, as well as the envelope that shows this is an info. I'm just showing an example. You got to get bolder. See, he's gonna say yes or no. You don't even know those people. They may not. You may never see them again. But then again, remember what happened with Andy Hosier. Remember he heard Ken Burke talking about the patches, so he overheard the conversation. He could have easily walked away. But he didn't. But look what happened to Ken Burke just because of that one conversation. So you got to get bolder. But we definitely want to hear what you all comments are
I'm
about
actually
what we
gonna
said tonight.
I'm actually gonna call on somebody because just before the call, I was talking to one of our partners, and he did exactly what you just said. He was out, and then Stephen Haynes, we was when I called you, you was at the car mechanic. If you don't mind coming up here and tell us what you wound up doing, and it's exactly what you just shared, Fadita.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm on my commuter bus heading home, so I'm quiet. But I had to laugh about it because my car's giving me some trouble and I need to get the AC fixed. So at the mechanic shop, I'm talking to the manager about what's going on, and he's walking with a cane, and I didn't notice he had that before. That's why I went there and I said, "Hey, what's going on, man? You need a cane?" He was like, "Yeah, my knee was giving out, and I hurt my upper knee, and this and that." And I said, "No, I was relating to him on that." And I said, "Well, look, bro, I just said you need to try out my patches." He was like, "Patches?" I said, "Yeah, I'm wearing them right now. It's a stem cell rejuvenation patch." He was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, bro, just keep on. It's me. Just make sure you're hydrated, And I'm just bringing my car back to you in another day or two when I can afford to pay for those services." But and then while I'm telling him, the lady waiting for her car, she said, "Well, I got a knee problem too." I said, "Well, hey, look, here's my number." You know, she gave me her YouTube site and everything. And I said, "Listen, call me and I can get you straight up. I can get you going." And she was like, "Oh, okay, well, thank you, yeah." And it's like you said, it's just a matter of being cognizant that you have something going for people and you're not really scheming on folks, but you notice that folks need help. Offer yourself a little bit. That's it.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Stephen. You know what I would, if I heard you correctly, you asked the guy to get back to you. The only thing I would add to that is, do you mind if I get your number? Because I can give you some more information or something. Because many times, 90% of the time, they don't get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to remember, it's your business. So again, I always make it a point, even if I give somebody a sample, say, listen, I'm going to send you a quick video to show you how to use the patch. What's your number? And a lot of times you just say, what's your number? You don't have to say, can you give me a number? Say, what's your number? I want to follow with you in a day or so. Because again,
Mhm.
once, like she said, once you leave that person, it's not their business. It's not, and they may forget it in the next day or two. But because it's your business, your intention about it, it's up to us to follow up as opposed to expecting people to follow up with us. And again, it takes a few connections
Yeah,
and don't
they
get
may lose your
discouraged.
number or
Yeah,
they forget
lose
even
the
if your
number.
number's in their phone, they may
Hmm.
forget what your name was, anything. So
Yeah,
always be very intentional and take a piece of paper out or some folder or a book or something and write the names and numbers of people you talk because you can always go back and references and remember, write
track
down
again.
where you met them.
Hmm.
Hey, I saw these two ladies in Bloomingdale's the other day. Hi, my name is Rodita Monk. We met the other day at the such and such a counter at Bloomingdale's, and you asked me to make sure I got back to you about these stem cell reactivation, something to help them remember you. But people like it when you're professional, even though you may feel scared or whatever.
Hmm.
People respect when you are professional and you do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
So let's just step it up, y'all.
Yeah, for sure. And again, if you haven't seen the video, I sent out the link for the video that Vidita did yesterday because one of the other things we're looking to do, whether it's on a presentation, you're doing a presentation on one-on-one, is at the very end. And we talked about doing this. We're going to put together what we call frequently asked questions because we want to make sure that at the end of a presentation, we don't want people going off to Amazon in Walmart to order
Walmart.
patches, and we're gonna make that one of the questions. Why you don't want to order from these places, and tell them all the things that could happen and go wrong. And also one of the things we want to mention is, hey, you want the person who shared it with you to be the beneficiary benefit, not Amazon, not Walmart. And again, by addressing some of those questions at the end, like we're going to tell them, don't do the lazy Google search. If you want more information, go here. If you have questions, give us a call. And just giving like a few questions out there, because we know what happens when people see a presentation, they get off the call, they share, it could be, let's say it's a spouse, they share with their spouse and they start tearing them down right away. They share it with a friend or they ask somebody's opinion or somebody, so they get something negative and then all of a sudden they're not interested anymore. So by us giving them some clear question that frequently asked questions that they can address, we think that'll help at the end because it's not so much what happens to people is that nobody told them was going to happen. And again, so once we tell them,
Mhm.
like I had a friend once, he was on a call. He was so excited about the patches. He was trying to order the patches while he was still on the Zoom. And he said, I was trying to order on Amazon. I said, oh, no, no, you don't want to do that. Because again, people are used to getting discount savings if they think they go get it. But I'm not just telling you about the membership. I'm the one sharing it with you. So if I'm sharing it with you at the least as a courtesy, I should get the benefit. Not I'm not going to get a benefit if you go to Amazon or or Walmart or the other. So those are some of the things you want to keep in mind again. But remember, watch the video if you haven't seen it. We now have a doctor's video that you can use from last Saturday. We often talk to people that they question whether this patch is real. I think Emerson, he couldn't go on the call, but last time we did the three-way call with a gentleman, he was on Verdita's call. We did the three-way about an hour and a half before the call. But because I gave him the option of 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock, he said 8 o'clock worked better for him. So he did get on the call. We got on the call right afterwards because, again, remember, book a meeting for a meeting. So we just said, like, after the call, we're going to give you a call back. So Emerson got him on the phone. He said he asked some questions and he could have answered himself, but he got me on the call. And his main question was, how do people know that this is real or just not in their head in terms of the patches? And even though he had a good experience, so I gave him some examples. I told him about the science behind it. We answered a few more questions. Then we asked him, the last question was, are you interested in the health benefits, the financial benefits, or both? He said, oh, I'm in. I want both. So now he's going to be coming on board as a partner. But again, use the process. Use us for three ways. Don't try to do it by yourself. And to get somebody again, and the easiest thing, if you have somebody that we call on your chicken list, those are people that successful. Maybe you're afraid to reach out to them. That should be the easiest person for you because you can say, listen. You're a sharp person. I'm brand new and I can't explain to you, but I'm working with somebody and just do the edification and take the pressure off yourself and let us, do the heavy lifting for you. And you'll start to see results. Again, we just did this yesterday with Emerson. He's going to do it again another day with some other people. And again, I'm here and I'm available. So, use us because as this team grows, they're going to be less available. But, we have we got the early bite at the apple. So let's take advantage of it so we can all rise together. They say, how they say, high tide, all ships rise in the high tide. So we're in a high tide season. And like I said, if anybody else want to say anything before we close out, please do. You brave souls, everybody's on mute. Everybody's got their cameras off. All
I
right,
just
so
want to add something to what you just said about ordering somewhere else. And, I know you're going to have the frequently asked questions, which I think is a brilliant idea. But one of the other reasons that they don't want to order from those is because number one, you don't know whether or not the product
it's legitimate.
is legitimate. I
Yeah.
mean, I heard that call themselves duplicating this over in China somewhere. That could
Mhm.
be another thing. Listen, do you realize that according to our terms and conditions in our backlog, you cannot market this on some other public site. That's illegal. If corporate catches up with them, which that's what they were doing at first with people, they were shutting them down.
Hmm.
They're not supposed to market this on a site like eBay. It's supposed to be,
Person to person.
a
Yeah.
personal relationship. And not only that, if let's say you for some reason, you know how we got the 30-day money back guarantee. Well, as a customer, it's 90 day. You're not going to get that because that person's not going to wait 90 days later and say, let me give you your money back. Only Lifeway will do that. So if you do go to Amazon and you click on LifeWave Extra, you're going to be directed straight to the LifeWave site. And therefore, what LifeWaves does, let me tell you what LifeWave does. it gives that customer that went to Amazon to a LifeWave distributor. Anybody that's a director, well, I don't know what it is now, but I think you had to be an executive or above in the previous plan. They gave those customers to executives or above.
Yeah, makes sense.
They
Somebody
don't, no,
that's well
LifeWave
established.
doesn't want the commission. They're giving it to us, but this is just to say that you're not gonna get that from somebody who's a rep and they think they can go advertise on this site. So
Yeah.
just know that you're not getting your money back. There's no you can't call that person on Amazon and ask questions. Here you are paying to be a licensed distributor. And so that I think that that's a brilliant idea, Derek, to make sure that you address any concerns. We
Hmm.
got to step it up and we're going to do that. So
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned. Just last thing I want to share is, and Mike Huggins could attest to this. We had our customers in Florida, and after the first time they delivered it, somebody apparently they delivered to the wrong person because they showed a picture of the way it was delivered to somebody else's door. So they sent her out another batch, and eventually she got another one, and then she called because she was having a problem with the patch. So I said, send us a picture of the patches you got. And I don't know where she got the patch from. And maybe she ordered it and didn't tell us, but it was not the X39 patch. And I said, those aren't our patches, you know. And she had half X39, but she had half of something else. Again, because some people do that. They'll order, but they may not tell you because they don't want you to know that they ordered it to try to save some money. But it was clearly not X39 patches. She had problems with it. So, so that's important that we do that. All right.
let's be authentic.
All right. So going once. Anybody have anything else to say before we close out? And I did record the call. Going once.
I will say that one of our teammates, she has a room with two tickets, I mean for two people, but she paid up front, which meant that you know how there's some kind of payment plan.
Mm,
But they add something like $150 onto it to give you more time, but ultimately it costs you more money. So she has two tickets. I mean, a room for two people for 1,400 and something dollars. In other words, it's gonna if you can do it, it's gonna save you money. That's gonna include your room and your ticket. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It's not too late.
mhm. And see, Dr. Glura, I see you opened the mic. Did you want to share something? Dr.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Hello.
I
You're
didn't.
not gonna make me show my face. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's up to you.
Well, I really enjoyed this. Um, I I have a place where, seniors go. So I went over there to have lunch today and I look around to see who because I don't know the people, but where I could sit. So I sat with three ladies today and we start talking I I usually take my patch book with me. So I start talking. This one lady said, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm going to go home. I said, wait.
The
I said, I got
doctor's
something
in the
for
house.
you. I said, I got something for you that's going to help you feel much better. So I had the X39 with me. I pulled out my book. I started telling her about it. She let me patch her. We start talking. Her friend next to her start talking. Come to find out that where I go get my hair with actually is a customer that Michael had. So I rehooked her up with Michael. Let her talk to Michael. Michael's talking to her. She said, well, she's here. Tell me about the patches. And Michael says, get the patch, get the patch. So she really paid attention to him. He's because I guess she had been with him for a while. So he said, whatever you do, just get the patch, get the patch. So I have two customers that I will be signing on that I met today. Just sitting, I look around, just scoping out the people
Congratulations.
and see, you know, who I could actually talk to. So, I never seen the ladies before, but yeah. And one of the ladies said, well, I got another friend I'm gonna hook you up with. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay. And one of the ladies, she had somebody to send her patches. She had the X39 from last year
Mm.
and the lady had been telling her about it, but I guess she never followed up. And so all of a sudden, I come to tell her about the X39 today. And she said,
Well,
I need to get this patches. I need to get this from you. So there's people out there that they've never heard of it before. And so it's an open door for you guys to get someone that's interested. Because I get people all the time, they say they have pain. I say, you're having pain? And then I go and I get
here's
them. I
Percocet.
get them.
Get him,
And
Laura. Get him.
like the lady last week that I at church I patched her. She told her daughter. So her daughter ordered. She's in Tennessee. She ordered patches from me a couple of days ago.
Mm.
So
Awesome. Congratulations.
All right. The doctor's in
there's
the house.
This is the easiest business, y'all. All we doing is helping people.
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Anyone else before we close out? Going once, going twice, three times. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for your time. Again, I did record it, so I'm going to send it out and share with those leaders who couldn't make it. I know Emerson Vidita, he can reach out to you because he tried to get in. He was having trouble with his phone and he tried to get in a few times. I saw him coming in and out. But again, thank you guys for your time and let's make this a banner year for all of us.
Sounds
Woohoo.
good.
Good, good night, all.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Mhm.